Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where the annals of time come alive through the lens of human experience. Today, we embark on a fascinating journey to explore the intricacies of the Orange Revolution, a pivotal moment in modern history that captivated the world with its fervor and ideals. As we delve into this captivating tale, let us first set the stage for the earliest whispers of this revolution, for it is in understanding the precursors and origins that we may truly grasp the essence of this remarkable event. In the early 2000s, Ukraine was a nation at a crossroads, struggling to find its footing after decades of Soviet rule. The country's economy was in shambles, and corruption had become an entrenched part of everyday life. Against this backdrop, a new generation of Ukrainians began to emerge, eager for change and determined to shape their own destiny. It was amidst this sense of discontent that the seeds of the Orange Revolution were sown. One key figure who would play a pivotal role in the revolution's development was Viktor Yushchenko, a charismatic politician with a reputation for integrity and a vision for Ukraine's future. In 2002, Yushchenko's party, Our Ukraine, had made significant gains in parliamentary elections, demonstrating the growing appetite for reform among the Ukrainian people. As the 2004 presidential election approached, Yushchenko emerged as a leading contender, with his message of anti-corruption and economic reform resonating deeply with voters. Meanwhile, another crucial figure was Viktor Yanukovych, a politician with close ties to the outgoing President Leonid Kuchma and Russia. Yanukovych's candidacy was widely seen as an attempt by the old guard to maintain their grip on power, and his campaign was marked by allegations of vote buying and intimidation. The stage was thus set for a confrontation between the forces of change, led by Yushchenko, and those resistant to it, represented by Yanukovych. As we explore the historical context of the Orange Revolution's emergence, it becomes clear that the revolution was not simply a spontaneous event, but rather the culmination of years of growing discontent. In the summer of 2004, Ukraine's capital city, Kiev, was abuzz with activity as protesters and activists began to mobilize in anticipation of the presidential election. The iconic Independence Square, also known as Maidan Nezalezhnosti, would become the epicenter of the revolution, its imposing monuments and Soviet-era architecture, a testament to the country's complex history. In the months leading up to the election, tensions simmered just below the surface as allegations of electoral tampering and fraud began to surface. The opposition, led by Yushchenko, claimed that the government was engaging in widespread manipulation, seeking to secure a victory for their candidate, Yanukovych. These allegations would eventually prove to be a catalyst for the mass protest that would engulf Kiev and other Ukrainian cities. The year 2004 was about to witness an outpouring of public sentiment unlike anything seen before in Ukraine. The peaceful protests, characterized by their orange banners and determined spirit, would challenge the status quo and pave the way for a new era in Ukrainian politics. Join me as we step into the midst of this extraordinary chapter in modern history, where the pursuit of democracy and freedom became a beacon of hope not just for Ukrainians, but for people around the world. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, as we continue our journey through the captivating tale of the Orange Revolution. As the presidential election approached, tensions simmered just below the surface, with allegations of electoral tampering and fraud surfacing on a daily basis. The opposition, led by Viktor Yushchenko, claimed that the government was engaging in widespread manipulation, seeking to secure a victory for their candidate, Viktor Yanukovych. These allegations would eventually prove to be a catalyst for the mass protests that would engulf Kiev and other Ukrainian cities. On November 24, 2004, the Central Election Commission announced that Yanukovych had won the election, sparking widespread outrage among Yushchenko's supporters. The opposition cried foul, alleging that the vote had been rigged, and thousands of protesters poured onto the streets of Kiev, converging on Independence Square, also known as Maidan Nezalezhnosti. The iconic square, with its imposing monuments and Soviet-era architecture, became the epicenter of the revolution, a symbol of Ukraine's complex history and its struggle for democracy. As the protests gained momentum, Yushchenko's supporters donned orange banners, scarves, and ribbons, adopting the color as a symbol of their movement. The peaceful demonstrations, characterized by their determination and resilience, would challenge the status quo and pave the way for a new era in Ukrainian politics. The protesters' chants of "Tak" and "Yushchenko" echoed through the streets as they demanded a fair election and an end to corruption. The international community took notice of the unfolding drama, with observers from the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe and other organizations reporting widespread irregularities in the voting process. The United States, the European Union, and other Western nations expressed concern over the election's legitimacy, further isolating the Ukrainian government. As the protests continued, Ukraine's Supreme Court intervened, ordering a rerun of the election. On December 26, 2004, a new vote was held, with Yushchenko emerging victorious. The Orange Revolution had achieved its goal, paving the way for a new era in Ukrainian politics, one marked by a commitment to democracy, transparency, and accountability. The impact of the Orange Revolution extended far beyond Ukraine's borders, inspiring democratic movements across the former Soviet Union and beyond. The revolution demonstrated that peaceful protest and collective action could be a powerful force for change, even in the face of entrenched authoritarianism. As we reflect on this pivotal moment in modern history, we are reminded of the power of human spirit and the enduring quest for freedom and democracy. Join me as we conclude our journey through this extraordinary chapter in modern history and discover how the ideals of the Orange Revolution continue to shape Ukraine's future and inspire democratic movements around the world. Welcome back to History with Herodotus as we conclude our journey through the captivating tale of the Orange Revolution. The years following the revolution were marked by a complex struggle to consolidate democratic gains and overcome the entrenched corruption that had plagued Ukraine for decades. Viktor Yushchenko's presidency was marred by infighting within his coalition government, and the country's economy struggled to recover from the shock of the revolution. Despite these challenges, the Orange Revolution had a lasting impact on Ukrainian politics, paving the way for future generations of democratic activists and inspiring similar movements across the former Soviet Union. One notable example of the revolution's legacy is the Euromaidan protests that erupted in 2013, sparked by President Viktor Yanukovych's decision to abandon plans for closer integration with the European Union. The protests, which drew millions of Ukrainians onto the streets, were characterized by their peaceful nature and demands for greater accountability and transparency from their government. The Euromaidan movement ultimately led to the ousting of President Yanukovych and the establishment of a new, pro-European government. The Orange Revolution also had significant international implications, as it marked a turning point in the struggle between Russia and the West for influence over Ukraine. The revolution's emphasis on democratic values and integration with Europe was seen as a challenge to Russian dominance in the region, and Moscow responded by increasing its support for separatist movements in eastern Ukraine. This led to the ongoing conflict in the Donbas region, which has claimed thousands of lives and displaced millions of people. Despite these challenges, the ideals of the Orange Revolution continue to inspire democratic movements around the world. The peaceful protests and collective action that characterized the revolution have become a model for activists seeking to challenge authoritarian regimes and promote human rights. As we reflect on this pivotal moment in modern history, we are reminded of the power of human spirit and the enduring quest for freedom, democracy, and dignity. As Ukrainian writer and activist Serhiy Shadan once said, The Orange Revolution was not just a political event, but a cultural and social phenomenon that changed the way Ukrainians think about themselves and their place in the world. The revolution's legacy can be seen in the vibrant civil society that has emerged in Ukraine, with countless organizations and initiatives working to promote democratic values, support independent media, and protect human rights. In conclusion, the Orange Revolution was a pivotal moment in modern history, marking a turning point in Ukraine's struggle for democracy and freedom. Despite the challenges that followed, the revolution's legacy continues to inspire democratic movements around the world, and its emphasis on peaceful protest and collective action remains a powerful model for activists seeking to challenge authoritarian regimes. As we look to the future, we are reminded of the power of human spirit and the enduring quest for dignity, freedom, and democracy. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the Orange Revolution. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.